Hello and welcome to today's webcast. My name is Lisa Alexander and I am a lead consultant here with Elite Dynamics. In today's webcast, we are going to cover system administration. In this webcast, we will be covering the following topics: creating and removing sandboxes, user management, Elite Parks user setup, job queue management, and active sessions. Having control as a customer of your own system admin means quicker response times to any issues that may arise, or indeed any tasks that need to be actioned. You will also be able to tailor solutions to meet your specific needs as a business, and overall gain better performance times and reliability of your system. Additionally, having system admin knowledge ensures that the system is always up to date with the latest information and reduces the risk of any downtime, ultimately giving you full control of your own environment. The first thing we are going to cover is creating and removing sandboxes. This is particularly useful if you need to refresh your current test system with a copy of your current production, or indeed you need to free up some capacity within your environment. To navigate to your environments, you need to click on the cog in the top ribbon and then Admin Center, where a list of your environments will be displayed. The type will also be displayed whether it is a production environment or a sandbox. A word of caution: never delete your production environment, only sandboxes. Once you have identified the sandbox that you would like to delete, click the name and you will see in the top ribbon that you have the option to delete. The system will then ask you to confirm, and once confirmed, you will then be asked to type in the name exactly the way it is displayed within your environment. Again, a final check to ensure that you would like to delete this sandbox. Once you are completely sure, you can select delete and deletion will begin. Now you have deleted your sandbox, you have made room to create a new sandbox using your production environment. It is useful to do this every so often to ensure that you have the most up-to-date test data. To copy your production environment, click Production, and from the top ribbon, select Copy, where you will be asked to give your new environment a name. It is worth mentioning here that we always advise adding a sandbox, and you can see that no spaces are allowed. Instead, you can add an underscore, and I also recommend adding the date. That way you can see when the sandbox was created and who created it. You will also be asked to select your environment type. You can see here that you are only ever allowed one production environment, so you will be selecting sandbox. You are only ever allowed no more than 3, however you will have deleted your sandbox, creating room. Once you have completed these details, you can then select Copy. We can now cover user management within Elite. Using my navigation tool, I can search users, and here I will find a list of all users within the system. I can then drill down into each user, check their permissions and user groups, along with any licenses that have been assigned. If I need to add any more users to the system, I first of all need to log into Microsoft 365, select Admin, Users, and then Active Users, where here I can select the user that I wish to add, apply a license if it hasn't already been done so, save my changes, and then navigate back into Elite, where I can then update users from Microsoft 365. This will then pull in any changes that I have made. Once I have brought my user in, I can then create default user records for each or all users, depending on how many I have just brought into the system. I can then confirm. This will give my user basic permissions and will also create their Elite Park user setup, which is vital for the user to be able to log in and use the system. From here, I can find my selected user. Here, the user ID is displayed, sales and purchaser code, as well as a resource number. This is also where you will find the user's PIN number and the current park code that they are logged into. If this is a new user, you can set this up before giving the login to your user. We then have filter groups where you can select which parks, stock items, POS payment methods that your user is able to access within the system. And you can work through each Fast tab and confirm by toggling on or off any park-specific or general permissions that you wish this user to have. You will see there is a Fast tab for members, leads, deals, owners, and booking permissions. It is important to remember that these toggles are separate to any permissions that you have assigned to the user. We then carry on with events, activities, and housekeeping permissions, which are all under each Fast tab. Each user can be configured independently, so it is important that a super user has control of this. You are here also able to generate new PIN numbers for your user, and you can copy from another user rather than having to set all this up on your own. Moving back up to the top of Elite Park's user setup card, you will see there is a user option where we have user personalization and user setup. We can set each user up in here with a posting from and to date if you do want to set every user up individually. Alternatively, this can be managed within General Ledger Setup. You then also have your user personalization. Here you will have the user ID. You are then able to assign a role to each user. This will determine what tiles they see on the login screen, and you can set these depending on what area of the business that your user works within. This does not mean that they are not able to search using the search functionality. It just means that their tabs and their tiles will be personalized to what role they have within the system. We then ensure that the language and the region is set up as England, United Kingdom, and you can select which company that this user is logged into. Whilst we are touching on the subject of company for each user, if we navigate back to the user card itself and then search permissions for each user by scrolling down to the user permission set Fast tab, you can see that you are able to select a company name for each permission. If this is blank, each user will be able to navigate freely between the companies. If you add a company within here, the user will only be able to log in with that company under this environment. All of the steps must be followed for a user to successfully be created within Elite Parks and Business Central. The next topic we can cover is job queue management. Using the search function at the top, we can navigate to job queue entries. And here you will find a list of all the job queues within the system, the status the job queue is sitting in, the user ID who has set this job queue, and the object ID and description of this particular job queue, If we scroll along further, we can see the last date and time that the job queue ran and the number of minutes between each run. A point to note about the user ID is that we always ask customers to restart their own job queues. Elite Dynamics cannot start these job queues for you, as some permissions do stop us being able to run your job queues effectively and may cause errors. I can now drill into one of our job queue entries and see the general information on the job queue along with the reoccurrence at the bottom. You can see that I'm unable to edit any of this information at the moment, even after selecting edit. This is because I must set the job queue to hold first before I can edit anything in the system. And you will see now if I press edit, I'm able to make any changes that I need to. Once I have made any relevant changes, I can then set my job queue back to ready. Or alternatively, restart or run once in the foreground if required. Sometimes a job queue will error, and you will be able to see the error in the top ribbon if I select Show Error. Any message will be displayed here, and you should be able to effectively rectify the situation. Once you have, you are then able to restart your job queue. I can also create new job queue entries by selecting New within the top ribbon, selecting the object type to run, and selecting my object ID. I can then select the earliest time that I would like this to run and date, and an expiration date if required. And I can come down to recurrence and select this on for all the days if required, and the start time that I would like this to run. And set my status to ready. This job queue will then begin based on the earliest start and date time. If I no longer want this job queue, I can delete. Being able to manage your own job queues, triaging any that are in an error status, really will save you time and will gain you efficiency within your system. It is a good idea to come in here as a super user and check the status of your job queue entries every so often, actioning any errors that may appear. Once you have rectified any errors, you are then able to restart the job queue or set back to ready if you do not need to restart at the moment, or run once in the foreground if required. The final part of this webcast is showing you how to manage your active sessions within each environment. This is particularly useful if you need to cancel everybody's sessions within one go, to carry out system maintenance, or indeed somebody has maybe forgot to log themselves out of the system. The easiest way to control this is from the cog in the top ribbon and selecting your admin center, where here I can select the environment that I need to check. In this case, it's my production environment. And in the top ribbon, I can see sessions. I can click this and see every user who is logged in to this particular environment. I am able to cancel each individual session, and I can also see the duration that this user has been logged into this environment. If I do need to, I can cancel everybody's session in one go, and I can refresh or restart the environment if required. The ability to restart or refresh your own environment offers several benefits, primarily ensuring smooth and uninterrupted operations. And one significant advantage is the capability to troubleshoot and resolve any technical issues promptly. By restarting your environment, you can address performance issues, software glitches, such as a table lock, and other technical hiccups effectively and efficiently, thus minimizing your business's downtime. Another important area to check within your system is the system capacity. Managing your system's capacity in Business Central Admin Center is crucial for maintaining optimal performance and ensuring smooth operations. The Admin Center provides an insight to the database and shows you the capacity that has already been used. If you are close to capacity, your system may become slow and day-to-day operations may become more difficult. By checking the data within capacity, you can then make decisions on whether you should be deleting any companies or indeed any sandboxes within your environment.